Yeah, there's more like bit of a melon kind of taste that's coming through. I don't know. I can't pick what that taste is, but it's cleaner, it's more full body, there's far more complexity. It's a much more balanced coffee. If I had to pick the two, I'd drink this every day. Hey everyone, today I'm going to deep dive into water for coffee. Now, in most of our videos, and whenever we start talking about espresso or extractions, we always come down to talking about water. Now, filtered water is always a great thing, but over time we start to know more about it. And there's a few companies out there that have produced, I guess, the perfect mineral balance for coffee. Because once you've got the right minerals, it will attach to all of the chemicals and the compounds of coffee, and hopefully absorb and take that out of the coffee and get it into espresso perfectly. So we were sent a few samples from Third Wave Water, and we want to give them a go. We've never tried it. So look, they've got a couple of different types. They've got a general one for coffee and tea, and then they have a specific one for espresso machines. So today I'm gonna mix up some of this water. We're gonna pop it into the R91 here. We've got a set profile that we're gonna use, and we're gonna test that versus my standard home water, which is pretty much got nothing in it. So let's get into it. So what does the test look like? Well, what we're going to do is we've got all of our standard high-end gear that we do for our extractions. We're going to be weighing our recipes in, which is going to be 22.5 grams of coffee, and we're going to do a normal. So we're going to go for 2-to-1 extraction. With the R91, we're going to use a set profile there of pressure profile ramping, so that'll be repeatable. We'll use our WDT, our flare puck screens, our NCD, all the things that we know make espresso great. We'll extract that as a long black. So we've got a temperature controlled kettle, and we're going to then do a DI fluid test on the end of that once it cools. And we're going to note down on some paper the taste, things like the sweetness, the body, the acidity, and the balance of those coffees, and just see if we can notice a difference. Now, the key thing to think about is in town, we have town water. Here at home, I have my rainwater source. So there's not much in my water. So the first thing I want to show you is that we've filled this machine up, we've emptied the boiler, and we've filled it up with my rainwater. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test my water first, just to show what the baseline is. We've got a filtered system, which I'm going to show you out the back what that is all about. We'll turn that on. Okay, and you wave the TDS meter through the water here. And once you get a steady reading, you can hit hold. There we go. So 16 parts per million. Now in town, our water, I think, is nearly about 185 parts per million. So it's quite high. So that is our baseline water. It's filled in the machine. And essentially, we're going to brew coffee on this water first. The little satchels that come in the pack add extra minerals and salts and all different things that they say is best to extract water. So we'll make up a little batch later in one of these, refill the machine, and do the experiment again. So let's go talk water and have a look at my water system. All right, so we live on a bit of acreage, and we get beautiful water juice from the sky. It catches on our roof and comes down into our tanks. So what a lot of people think about is this is great water, and that is correct. It doesn't have the minerals, the chemicals that town water has, because they add everything in there to kill it. But what you do have to consider is bacteria in your water. So PureTech is the system that I run, the Hybrid G. It's double filtered. So sediment is a big issue when you have tank water. So we're double sediment filtering this water at the moment. And then it's UV light. It's a beam that then it covers the water and kills all that bacteria. So highly recommend getting something like that, because with your coffee machines at home, if it's a warm water source, and it will just breed any bacteria that you have. So this kills it and looks after the inside of your machine. You're not going to get the sediment buildups that you get with town water, because hopefully you're putting a different type of filter in to nail that as well. So getting minerals out to correct the inside of your machine is the key thing with town water. So what we're doing is basically the opposite. I'm putting more minerals into my coffee machine. So let's see how that's going to taste in our little test. All right, so we're gonna start with the home water here. It's in the machine. Let's get an extraction on. We need to get our standard amount of beans. There we go, tear that off. So our recipe is 22.5 grams of coffee. We're using the Ferranzato all-ground grinder and we're using our Champion blend. So this is what all of our cafes use. It's got maple syrup, jasmine and milk chocolate. So it's definitely a great coffee for us to analyze. We know it very well. I assess this coffee every week. So from a flavor taste profile perspective, we're gonna be pretty spot on, I reckon, being able to assess that. There we go, so 22.5, just a smidge more there. We've got our handle, which is warm and clean and dry. Pop in our coffee, give it a bit of a tap. We're gonna add our flare funnel on top of that one, and we're gonna do some WDT. So if you're not familiar with this process, basically any of the clumps that are there, or boulders or fines, we're basically changing all those variables of the coffee grind and trying to get them to be a lot more even. The better you process or do anything to your coffee bed, the better your extraction is going to be. So for us just to be able to standardize it for this experiment is the key. Okay, so we've done low, middle and high WDTing there. Give that a little tap. We're going to use our NCD. This is set at 9, okay? And pop that in and then give it a bit of a spin. Okay, so that distributes the coffee around evenly and then we're going to tamp it. Okay, and we're using puck screens as well. So again, another video out there talking about puck screens, but they sit on top. They help not the puck, stop the puck from floating, but also cut up that water droplet into multiple smaller drops to get onto that coffee bed better. So I'm gonna just get myself our kettle from out the back here. So we've got 70-degree water here, and again, I've used my straight tap water. So when I do this next time, I will use some of the third wave water in this kettle just to make sure that we've got the same taste profile going on. We're gonna go 60 grams of water. Whoop, just a smidge over. Cool, so 60. Pop that under, we'll get that teared off, and we're on profile C here, so let's give this a crack. Hold that up and get ourselves a bit of crema floating. So we're going for a 9 bar start and then reducing as we head down to the end of our extraction. 2 to 1, so we're going to go for 45 grams. See if I got that right. Oh gee, I'm so close. Look at that, 44.6. All right, I'm going to call that at a 2 to 1. 0.3 of a gram off. So there is our first coffee there with our normal water. So I'm going to give that a bit of a stir and a bit of a taste. And a bit of an assessment. Excuse me while I slurp. All right. All right. It's tasty. It's got the juiciness and a good sweetness, but it's probably a little flat. I'll be honest. Yeah, it's a little flat. The spices aren't as dominant. A little bit of crisp, sort of crisp apple actually coming through on that one. And the balance between the two, It's actually pretty, it's pretty balanced. There's a little bit of zip, a little bit of light sparkliness on the tongue. It lingers, it does hold on into the flavor palette a little bit. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna let that cool, because when you do TDS, you wanna have a cool coffee. So we'll pop that over to the side here. And now we need to empty this boiler and fill it up, but we've got to make up some of the third wave water. So these little satchels, it's 1 satchel per 2 liters of distilled water. Well, we're going to go off, again, my home water. I'm going to make up 4 liters because we're going to have to flush this whole boiler, get it all out. It's a 3 liter boiler. So maybe I'll make up 6. I'll make up 6 liters of water in this bucket here. We'll have some for the kettle, and then we'll do another test. Sorry for interrupting. I hope you're enjoying the content, and thanks for watching. Have you seen our home barista manual? This thing has everything in it that we talk about through our YouTube channel as a guide that you can use at home and implement simply to make amazing espresso. It doesn't matter if you've got an entry-level machine like this or a high-end coffee machine from Italy, it's going to take your espresso to the next level. We cover things like dialing in a specific recipe for your machine, using some of these really cool tools to eliminate channeling and getting better extraction yields. You're going to be able to learn how to froth silky milk and pour amazing latte art so that you can impress all of your friends. This also has how to clean your machine and care and maintenance. The manual's available on our website as a digital download worldwide. Use the code YTBarista10 and you'll save 10% off our already discounted price. Do yourself a favor, go and download it now. So I'm going to get 6 liters of water. I reckon that's going to be enough for me to be able to fill my kettle, flush the machine, and have enough to do the experiment. The scale doesn't do 6 liters, so we're going to do it in a 4 liter batch. So we'll get ourselves some water. I reckon it's easier to cut these than try and tear them open because it does get caught in those little packets a bit. There's not an easy opening on them, so grab yourself a pair of scissors, and it does need to be really well stirred in, so get yourself something to stir that in. All right, so 2.8. We'll grab a few out of here. All right, 1 more of those and we'll hit that 4 liters. All right, just a smidge over. There you go, there's 4 liters. So we'd put 2 of the satchels into this water. That's 1. No real smell to that. Doesn't smell like chemicals or anything like that. I have no idea what they put into this to make the water what it needs to be. I'm assuming, yeah, I don't know. Whatever they feel is the best compound for the best water. Now, third wave water has been used in the World Barista Championships as well, so that when they travel, and you can make sure you can get your coffee to be worked really perfect for the competitions. So it's a good standard if you're traveling in that kind of circuit. So it's great to have consistency in water because, again, water around the world is different everywhere we go. All right, let's empty this tank. So now we've actually got the 2 satchels into the 4 liters of water. Let's see what the TDS of the water is, because that will be really interesting. Give that a bit of a wave forward and backwards, and we'll hit the hold. 174. There you go. So the TDS has gone up huge. I think it was 17 originally. So that's how many more minerals have been added into this water to hopefully extract more out of our coffee. So it's going to make a difference. There's no doubt about it. That's very similar to our town water. So let's get some of this in the tank. All right, now we're going to keep flushing until we get a higher TDS water out through the front of this brew head, because essentially we've got to empty that 1.5 litres of water out of the current boiler and then basically fill it back up. This is going to take a bit of time, so bear with me on this. Well, it's up to 124 parts per million, so it's definitely getting there. It's starting to flush out that normal water and fill it with the third wave water. So we'll keep going until we get to that 174 parts per million, which means that we're fully using third wave water in the boiler of the machine. So to keep it consistent, we do need to empty our normal house water out of the kettle, because that's the base of our long black. And we'll fill it up with some of the third wave water and get that up to temp. And for our long blacks, we put the kettle on 70, and that just means that we can taste that espresso on top of that long black straight up. So we'll get that up to temp. So I've been flushing that third wave water into the tank. We're up to 154 parts per million coming through the front now. So I just need to make up another 2 litres of the third wave water brew. I'll top it up the tank again. All right, so I'm gonna give it a test, and I'd like to think that they were the same, but I think we'll get it pretty close. It'll be hard to get it spot on. There'll be some residual minerals probably in this machine, or some variables there that will be happening. But I reckon we're definitely gonna see a huge increase from being that 17 parts per million. So we'll see what we get now. There you go, 170. There you go. So only 0.4 parts per million off, if my numbers are correct, remembering earlier on. So that's pretty close. All right, so let's make another coffee and do a coffee assessment. All right, happy with that. 0.3 over. All right, so we've got a variance of 0.3 either way, but that's going to be pretty awesome. All right, let's give this a bit of an assessment. Smells good. Smells like coffee. Yeah, right. There is a clear, distinct difference in the taste of that coffee. There is no doubt. It's just far more complex. Yeah. Okay, so let's give that a proper assessment. The acidity is, it's not bright, but it's quite, it's there. I'd say it's not quite high. It's a little bit less than high. The sweetness has definitely come up a whole new level. The body's actually reduced, and I think more so because it's probably more balanced as a cup. It's juicy in its texture. The body, it's a lower body, there's no doubt, but I'm going to put medium to low body on that one. The balance is just there. Yeah, that's much better. The crisp apple that I tasted with the other water, my tome water, that was bringing up a bit of acidity and a little bit of greenness to the coffee, where that's just definitely gone. It's not there anymore. Yeah, there's more like a melon kind of taste that's coming through. I don't know. I can't pick what that taste is, but it's cleaner, it's more full body, there's far more complexity, it's a much more balanced coffee. If I had to pick the two, I'd drink this every day. There is no doubt. That is very interesting. All right, we need to let that cool, and then we'll do a TDS reading on it, and we'll see how we go from there.
clear difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which one do you like best?
Even the cameraman can pick it. Third wave.
Third wave?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
So while I'm letting these samples cool to do the TDS, I just thought I'd read the back of the pack. And again, I wanted to do it a little bit blind before I knew what was happening. In this espresso profile mix, it's got magnesium sulfate, calcium citrate, and potassium bicarbonate. So that's what's getting added to that water, which we've used today. And in the coffee and tea one, there is only one difference. It's got magnesium sulfate, calcium citrate, and sodium chloride. So yeah, maybe that's going to help with tea more or alternative brewing perhaps. So it'd be good to know a little bit more about that. That's what they call a classic profile. Look, we don't sell these, but I think we'll have to look to maybe range them or sell them. If it's something that interests you, maybe leave us a comment down below and we'll reach out to these guys and see if we can sell them and get you guys access to them. All right, hopefully this is cold and we'll do some TDS and let you know those results. Now I've got the DI fluid set up with the app. It's one we've used before, we've done a little review on that one, so check it out if you want to know more information about it. But essentially it's an easy way for us to do a quick assessment on TDS of coffee. So we've got to make sure in between samples it's clean. What we've done is we've popped in our dose, which is our 22.5 grams, and we've had to put our beverage gram size at 105 because that's our 45 grams of extracted liquid that we had, plus the 60 ml of hot water that we had when we did these recipes in the cups. So I'm going to test our the home water sample first. And we just drop it into the top of the sample there. Now you can have little droppers for these things, which is great, but once you use them, they're tainted. So we're just using a double teaspoon sort of scenario here. So we'll do a test on that one now. So when I started the video, I said I was going to measure the TDS of the two types of water and give you that feedback. Well, to be honest, the DI fluid is playing up. There is no doubt. We've had readings from 4.1 to 1.7 to 0.8 on different samples and testings, and it's just been a challenge. So we don't know what's going on with that DI fluid at the moment. In the past, it's been pretty reliable. So maybe it's had its day, I don't know. So apologies for that. But anyway, what we did come to the conclusion after tasting this coffee, Ryan, who's behind the camera, and myself both unanimously agree that the adding third wave water satchels into our home water definitely increased the clarity, the flavor, and made an all-round more balanced espresso when we extracted it. There's no doubt. So maybe I need to relook at my water at home. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty, there's nothing in it, but it's not extracting enough or giving me that great depth of flavor and clarity that we look for in coffee. Now, we're fully aware having too many minerals or the wrong minerals can really affect your coffee as well. So trying to work out that balance is going to be hard at home for yourself. But if you've got some, distilled water that you want to use and look after the inside of your machine by using that and only adding the exact amount of minerals that third wave water would have in their satchel, I think you're going to be on a winner to get a good all-round balance of great coffee, but also look after your machine as well. So I hope that's helped you give you a bit of an idea about what you can achieve with different types of water. We all know anywhere around the world there's hard water, soft water, super mineralized water, and it must affect coffee. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of other videos that would press into that as well. So there's our take on it. I hope that's helped you a little bit. If you've got any questions about what we've done here today, please leave those comments down below. I'll happily answer those. And if you've got a reason as to why the DI fluid's playing up for us, let us know. I know there's another one on the way as well, a new model, so probably get our hands on that and have a play with it. This is a model that's been around for a little bit. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.